Welcome back to the Rural Radio Network. Let's get a midday commodity market update now with Mike Zuzolo of Global Commodity Analytics. Mike, we take a look at what's happening in the market. So far, we've talked about some limited action happening in the livestock sector. We'll talk grains here in a second, but you're always the man in the know when it comes to currencies. What's catching your attention here on a Monday?
Yeah, it seems like the trade's being pretty picky and choosy, Bryce, when it comes to how we're trading this market, which probably isn't a surprise given that we're going to find more and more of this activity from the outside markets probably leading, if not heavily weighting on this marketplace the next 30 to 60 days. And right there with it will be the South American weather, I suspect. But yeah, the wheat rally, I think, really does have a lot to do with the fact that the Russian ruble is making a new 2-week high against the U.S. dollar. Meanwhile, the Brazilian currency is back near its record low territory against the U.S. dollar, and I think that's really helped deflate the meal-led rally we saw on Friday. So I think the trade in the grain market's playing it pretty safe and just playing the spreads based upon how those currencies are acting.
Let's talk about beans in particular right now, coming back to record lows in the soybean charts. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think this is where if we're going to get a really solid bounce or trend change in the soy complex, unless we have Brazilian weather that is being talked about, I think it's going to have to come from the meal market, Bryce, and that's been the leader to the downside. I think it's the ones that's going to probably have to bottom first to give the market confidence to step back in, especially with the uncertainty on the biofuel policy, probably keeping some weight on the soybean oil contract as well.
You bring up South American weather. What are some of the latest short-term and long-term forecasts you've seen?
Yeah, both the short-term and long-term for Argentina, I would suggest and may even go out and say that the drought potential is increasing, that the La Nina potential may be setting in finally, because some in Chicago felt like Argentina did pretty good on rainfall. I felt like those areas that got a nice rain, but a lot of coverage loss there, and I think the next 7 days looks like we're going to heat up over there. So short-term and long-term, I think it's drier in Argentina as we get into the heart of their growing season.
No, we already talked about soybeans, some of the reasons there, but our listeners today scratching their head, saying if we're hearing kind of a drying pattern in South America, we should see beans going higher at this point. That's not the case here at the midday.
No, and I think that goes right back to that Brazilian currency and the new administration coming in and the old administration leaving. Trade and fear of geopolitical concerns, those are going to be projected through the currencies.
All right, cattle on feed report came out on Friday. Any takeaways from your perspective?
I told clients I didn't feel like it fed the bull, especially in the feeder contract, because of the potential for a corn rally, the screwworm premium that I think is in this market, still sitting around 12 million head on feed. So near term, I don't think we fed the bull on that report, watching the charts real closely.
Coming up this afternoon, we have the quarterly hogs and pigs report. Ahead of that, what are lean hogs doing, and what do you expect from that report?
Yeah, I think the market's a little bit nervous. We're probably doing a little bit of Christmas seasonal negativity here, Bryce, as far as pulling the plug on some longs now that we're right up against Christmas. But I think we're also probably positioning ahead of these numbers with the front-end hogs down 200 points, June hogs down 100. But nice thing about the last night's trade was the Chinese market held firm, so we'll keep an eye on that as well.
Lots of things to watch. Mike, we appreciate you joining us. Mike Zuzolo of Global Commodity Analytics, providing our midday market commentary. As a reminder, you can receive a free 2-week trial of Mike's newsletter when you mention the Rural Radio Network. Do so by visiting his website, globalcomresearch.com. That's globalcom with 2 M's research.com. I'm Bryce Duskett reporting.